The views, opinions, and wild ramblings expressed on this podcast are strictly those of our hosts and do not reflect the thoughts, values, or overly serious policies of their employers, sponsors, advertisers, or anyone with a legal team. All scenarios we discuss are based on past experiences, most of which we barely survived, and have nothing to do with any of our current jobs or employers. Basically, don't sue us. We're just here for the laughs, not the lawsuits.
Welcome to the Four Friends Trying to Figure Out HR, the podcast where we blend workplace drama, HR nightmares, and a way too much oversharing into one wildly inappropriate package.
Your hosts, they're a real dream team. First, we have Mama Mel, the HR queen with a knack for keeping it real and breaking the rules when nobody's looking.
Heavy on the no one's looking.
Next, we have Dr. Green, the one with all the fancy-ass degrees and the questionable sense of humor.
E equals MC squared.
Such a nerd. I'm the Big Llama. I come for the big laughs, the bigger opinions, and absolutely zero filter, because I don't even know what that word means. And last but not least, we've got Jake from HR. He's not wearing any khakis, and it's questionable if he's even wearing pants, but he is here to ensure that we're breaking HR guidelines just for fun.
I'm always here to judge.
So buckle up, grab your handbook, maybe a cocktail, and join us as we figure out HR one awkward scenario at a time.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Just Four Friends Trying to Figure Out HR podcast. Tonight's episode is going to be a thought experiment, and we're going to use some visual cues. So if you're watching on the video, you're going to see this, but if not, I have the hand of Thanos, and I'm going to magically snap away HR. There was no HR in anywhere, any company, anywhere.
Hold on.
Would happen? Oh,
I need you to bring that a little closer. I didn't hear the snap. There you go.
snap.
You're gonna be so disappointed in me. I thought that was the hand from the guy of the Fantastic Four.
I quit. I'm done. She's fired. I'm out of here.
That's it. All right, guys. The show's over tonight.
I want to file an HR complaint.
You know what? You can't HR until you start watching Marvel movies, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, Thanos? And then I was like, oh, the stones. Oh.
Yes, I have all the Infinity Stones. Again, I'm about to snap. All HR is gone. So now, what would your workplaces look like? Again, doomsday scenario here. What's the first thing that comes to your mind that's about to happen that there's no HR in your department? Anyone who wants to start?
We're about to see Jake from HR run around in a bathrobe.
First of all,
dress code out the window.
Thank you. I would not be wearing the bathrobe.
Sorry.
I'd be wearing
banana hammocks are still inappropriate. So.
I could honestly, I think depending on the company you work for or the building you work in is the answer to that question. But I can tell you for some of my previous organizations, it would be utter chaos with massive disagreements that go unresolved. It would be large amounts of nepotism and favoritism. It'd be policy violations. Anytime someone asks for an ADA accommodation, they'd get fired.
Jeez.
I mean, I feel like the water would get cut off. The bills wouldn't get paid. The toilet paper wouldn't get restocked.
Wait. I don't touch
It's the Hunger Games. It's the Hunger Games.
I know, but that's the thing, though. People wouldn't do their jobs because HR is not there.
That's a good point. That's what you have operations for, right?
Operations wouldn't show up. All the employees would be there, but where's the management team?
Oh, they're all working from home today.
Who's going to recruit?
Playing volleyball.
Yep. No one's
going to
pay
me. Exactly. I was like, who's going to pay me?
benefits aren't being processed, annual enrollment, we'll do that in 5 years.
Yeah.
You don't need health insurance.
Who's negotiating the contract for your benefits? Like, I mean, without HR, it's like, again, it is the Hunger Games. It is the Lord of the Flies. It is whatever you can think
Lord
of.
the Flies.
Just it's survival at that point. And I'm not saying that managers and operations can't run a good show, but they do ask some very peculiar, interesting questions, for lack of a better word, that you go, why would you even think that? Like, why? Like, you should know the answer to that, but they come to you at HR to answer that, and that's what I'm focusing and seeing right now, is that one person who says, "Hey, this person is hospitalized. They're on FMLA. Can I just get rid of them?" Like, because that's a question that comes up because they don't understand the rules and the policies. So, yeah. So what again?
Ever seen the meme of, it's a cartoon character, and he's like sitting in his like little desk, and the entire office around him is in flames. I don't know what character it is.
Yeah, everything's fine.
But everything's fine. Yeah, that's what it would be like. Or they'd have like Royal Rumble, 3 p.m. on Fridays. Obviously HR cannot get involved because there is no HR.
That's
but
right.
I feel like I don't know, to some level, like, we let them duke it out, and then like we go back to work. Could that even be a possibility? I don't know. But there would be some Royal Rumbles going down. There'd be some funky stuff going on in the restrooms, janitor closets.
Becky in the wild.
Becky and her cousin with the knockoff shoes would make a comeback.
Fishnet shirts.
Becky and Benny.
Benny and Becky, that's right.
Well, if you look at it realistically like a movie, look at it like a horror movie. When a virus takes out half the planet, or the aliens invade.
It already did that. Oh wait, never mind.
I know.
Aliens didn't invade though.
But no, realistically though, looking at it realistically, or my favorite word that I hate, holistically, I think the companies would crumble and suffer. A lot of the smaller organizations wouldn't make it. It would literally be kind of like coming to the end of the world and then having to recoup and recover from it, where people are having to learn new skills and how to adapt without someone there doing it for them. Because whether it's intentional or unintentional, HR plays a very, very significant and vital role in day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, and annual portions of operations, even if it's just from a consulting perspective. But definitely from a people side of the business, the culture I cheated a little bit, and I looked at it. I put in ChatGPT. I was like, what would happen if HR disappeared for 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year? And it was like, well, after 1 week, recruiting would kind of stall, onboardings would get delayed, payroll and benefits would start having issues, and policy questions would go unanswered. After a month, there would be compliance risk growing, increased turnover, management overload, employee dissatisfaction, and hiring bottlenecking. After 1 year, the legal liabilities would mount. The cultures would be disastrous. No performing management would exist. Loss of top talent and branding and reputation would be damaged. And then I added at the bottom, in summary, you can't live without HR.
Okay.
And let's just, okay. So if you're an HR professional listening to this, you know how vital and important the job is. But a disclaimer, obviously, we don't think we're the most important elements in the job. The job just knows that we are. Just saying.
Yeah. It's like, we don't think we're the shit.
We are the shit.
But
we are.
But I read this little scenario too. It says here, after a week, right? And think about this. Like, just think of these. Internalize this. Payroll is late. What do you do? Like okay, like instantly, all of our money is late. Like, what do you call? What do you do? There's no HR.
To work.
Who's onboarding the new people? who's filing the paperwork, who's getting them their IDs.
Becky.
You got employees shouting in the break room. Well, who handles this now, right? Like, it's, I understand. I know that operations teams can do this stuff, but if they're busy running the operation, this is what our jobs are. I don't know. This
is what happens when payroll is late. True story. Somebody's ear gets bitten off.
Oh yeah.
Like
sure.
Literally, a chunk of ear was bit off because
Oh,
payroll
shit.
was late. No, true story.
Oh, I thought you like figuratively. I'm like,
No.
okay, I get it.
No. So I worked for a company. They bought out a smaller company, right? We're acclimating them to us. That we're bringing them over to our system. Somehow, somewhere in the middle, payroll was dropped, right? And so we had employees without paychecks. And in our corporate office in Texas, our HR, I can't remember, she was a coordinator maybe or an assistant. The employees came to the office, right? Rightfully so. They're pissed. Where's my money? And they bit her ear. A chunk of her ear.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I feel like there was maybe a small altercation that led to the bite.
Maybe you were working at a prison.
Nope.
Was Mike Tyson around?
Involved. Bath salts.
Nope.
Did the conversation start with them popping their head in the office saying, "Hey, Becky, can I borrow your ear?
Lend me your ear.
Lend me your ear. Just a chunk.
Well,
let me bend your ear on something.
just like Mike Tyson said. Just saying. Take a little bite. That's sad and extremely unfortunate for that poor person. Did they look like the dog from Oliver's Company with the holes like in the ear? Did she look like she got like Swiss cheese ears now?
I never dared to look at her in her direction again.
I was actually going to ask, did it disform her ear permanently?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm sorry, I'm going to squirrel for a moment. Did she get a settlement check for that ear? Because those ears.
Please tell me she did.
I would hope so.
Every company's different, but with one of my previous companies, I know an ear was worth about $5,000.
Oh,
that's it? Wait a minute.
No. I worked for a company that I had a list of every body part and what it was worth.
But now it's worth more now because
I'm interested in this list.
Right, too. I'm intrigued.
I need to see what every body part is worth.
If you lost a finger,
what's a toe worth?
If you lost a finger, on average, they're worth between $10,000 to $15,000, depending on the finger.
I can lose a digit.
Kenny, cut it off, buddy. Cut it off.
Hey, put it in the cardboard stacker. Just go.
Could you imagine? Like random people? What happened to your ear? I work in HR.
That sounds dangerous. It is. Don't get paid. Watch them bite me.
Like, what do you do? I'm an MMA fighter. I've never had an ear issue.
You got HR people with cauliflower ear? No, that's not good.
Not the cauliflower ear.
So I do have a thought. If HR was gone, let's go back to the modern world where we have Teams and Slack, and that there's gonna be one person that's gonna send out the most inappropriate GIF or meme, and I'm gonna be that guy laughing because it's hilarious. But it's even funnier that they're about to. Well, I guess they're not gonna get walked out, so it really doesn't matter. But just thinking about how the most inappropriate GIF that they would put out there or meme.
Who would walk out the employees?
Nobody, because HR's not there to care.
Nobody.
Who would offboard them?
Nobody gets fired.
That's
who
true.
Would deactivate badges? Who would send? Who would be in compliance with state laws and final pay?
Exactly.
That's true. But what about
wouldn't?
What about the the people that the manager that says, "Hey, let's all have fun at Hooters," and they go to Hooters.
Actually, I'd be more concerned with the ones
Team
that want to
outing.
take him. Like, no, I've legitimately had a situation where they took their team to a strip club
This is why I ask these questions, because I gotta hear 'em.
and use their corporate credit card.
You're lying.
I am not.
No.
How did they think they would justify that?
I'm not.
How do you
I will-
justify the
I will
stilettos?
even tell you. I will tell you now. This even happens in the military. There has been situations. Not me personally have dealt with it, but I've observed situations where military personnel have used their government credit cards at strip clubs.
No, not the G card. Oh,
You
Listen.
sounded like Kevin Hart.
No, they weren't ready. No, they weren't ready because they didn't realize that the strip club ATMs list the location of the ATM.
That's okay. That's okay. I had high level executives using that card in questionable massage parlors. So,
Happy ending.
So all that would happen, and they'd still work there. That's what
Exactly.
would happen if HR wasn't present.
I want a squirrel like you did,
Squirrel,
Jake.
okay.
I want a squirrel. What would be the best name for that ATM name charge that would pop up on the bill?
Ooh.
Like
Booby trap? I don't know.
Spitting money like a spit game. I don't
Make
know.
it rain.
Make it rain. Booby trap was good. I like that one.
You know what? I like what is that name of that movie? Meet the Millers or We're the Millers. The ATM,
Yes.
they can call the ATM Boner Garage.
Although there is a place in my neck of the woods, my neighborhood around here, that is like famous that you do not get caught there. Like people talk about it and they like instantly cringe. It's a place called Body Talk. Now, Body Talk, if you listen to this podcast, first of all, I'm impressed. But yeah, if you get caught with a credit card slip that says that you went to the Body Talk, you're going to be shamed by all of your peers, friends, everybody in this neighborhood, in this town, because that place is synonymous. Like I've mentioned it one time in a sexual harassment training, and I swear to you, like people were like, "Oh, hell," like it was a reaction I've never heard before. And I'm telling you,
what is this place?
So it's the equivalent of a strip club here in my neighborhood, but I don't know that they go fully, without everything. I don't know. I've never been there. I will not set foot there.
I was going to ask, did you know it's like gilfs everywhere or like what?
I have no idea, but all I know is that
I've heard clarify that you've never been in there. Mama Llama, get in here.
Listen,
Mama Llama, where are you?
Actually, if you drive by it and you point it out, that's cause for either investigation of your relationship or ridicule from your friends. So it's that bad of a place.
Smell of regret.
Without HR, I feel like a lot of interviews and hiring would take place there.
I think so.
You bring up a good subject, though. Can you imagine the questions that recruiters would ask that would get us in trouble? So let's talk
about
a
B cup or a C cup.
Let's talk about the scaffolding right in between, like the in-betweens that HR provides, because those are good points, right? We tell our recruiting teams, you can't ask if someone's a U.S. citizen. You can ask them, can you legally work in the United States? But without our amazing and brilliant guidance, the question would be, do you have papers?
Yeah.
Are you here legally? Are you a citizen? Like what? Think of all the layers of like guidance that we give, and what could like come from like the recruiting aspect of it.
Well, even in your case, Mama Mel, like you can't ask. And again, this was probably allowed many years ago. You could not ask a female, "Are you pregnant?" And that would impact, because back then, I guess they would use it for grounds to say, well, you're not going to be reliable. You're not going to be, available. But I think in today's world, you ask that question, you better offer the job. You better give them the job, because anything that comes after that question that is not a job offer can be used in court, and they'll say, look, you discriminated against her because you asked her if she was pregnant, and depending on her answer, like, you have no grounds to stand on. So Jesus, that's
have you guys ever had an employee come and tell you they're pregnant?
Yes.
Yeah.
And why are they so afraid?
I don't know.
The first thing I do is I thank them for sharing that voluntary information.
I don't. I'm just saying that's
Exactly.
awesome. That's awesome. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so
Hopefully
much.
your boss is
for
not
voluntarily sharing that information. I just want to make sure if they're recording me, I'm being very clear. Thank you so much for voluntarily sharing that information.
Right, that information, yeah.
I didn't ask it.
Thank you again for voluntarily sharing that information.
No, every one of you know there's a situation with
There's
someone
always
records
one.
parts of the conversation, and then they'll be like, "Oh, he asked me," and I hit record right after he asked me. It's happened. It's happened to all of us, or to people we know.
But to give a little education in this world for anybody who's an HR coordinator, HR assistant, or aspiring HR person, I don't know if you want to aspire for that, but the first Pregnancy Discrimination Act went federally into act in 1978 when Jimmy Carter was president. So
that's when I was born. So
llama. So that was just the beginning of where, don't ask. But then it got, when we had the PUFA, when the PWFA came out, it basically just kind of tightened those things up and said, now you can't do this, or this, or you could be sued. And so just a little educational factor, 1978.
I want to run y'all through some interesting information that ties in with this topic.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah.
Perfect. We're asking questions about what would happen without HR if HR disappeared. I want to read y'all a list of companies, years, and violations with HR.
Oh, Jesus.
With HR in the company. This is going to tell you.
Wait. Is HR the one being spicy?
No, HR, either HR wasn't involved, HR didn't know about it. HR
okay, cool. Go ahead.
But they had an HR department.
And just for transparency, this is all public information that's online. So anything that I read, if it's inaccurate, I do apologize in advance. So in 2017 to 2019, Uber got in trouble for toxic culture and sexual harassment.
Ooh.
2018 to 2020, Google got in trouble for retaliation and gender discrimination, $310 million settlement. Amazon, unsafe work conditions and retaliation. Walmart, wage theft and discrimination, paid over $1 billion in wage-related settlements. McDonald's, sexual harassment, retaliation. Tesla, racial discrimination and harassment, $3.2 million in racial settlements. It was originally $137 million, but reduced over appeals. There is a California Department of Fair Employment and Housing Department. They were found guilty in 2001 of harassment and frat boy culture, $54 million settlement in 2024 to resolve gender discrimination claims. Fox News, sexual harassment, $50 million in settlements.
I remember that.
Wells Fargo, 2016, $3 billion in fines and settlements.
Holy
for
shit.
retaliation and unethical practices. Papa John's, 2018, racism and toxic culture.
Damn, Papa John's.
That's why you got to go Domino's, baby.
Vice Media, harassment, discrimination. Nike, 2018, 2021, discrimination of leadership, misconduct.
Wait.
2020, Pinterest got in trouble for gender and racial discrimination. They had to pay $20 million in settlement with the former CEO, and the company committed to $50 million in diversity investments. And the list just keeps going on. And these are issues with HR there.
Exactly.
Imagine that, like, we're talking about millions and billions of dollars in settlement with HR.
Companies would go bankrupt.
Exactly.
That's why I said almost all, if not every small company would shut down.
So I have to explain myself why I almost cut you off. You said Papa John's, and what popped in my head was the little table thing that they put in the middle of the pizza. And I go, oh, there's a little pepper dancing on the pizza at the table. And I was like, why did that hit me as funny? But I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I thought you got hung up on the Nike.
Oh yeah.
What was Nike's?
Just do it.
They sure did.
Yeah.
They sure did.
Just do it. Discrimination and leadership misconduct.
They probably went to Body Talk and used their card.
It says that employees complained of bullying, sexual harassment, and culture issues of gender discrimination. The fallout caused 10 plus top executives to depart in the shakeup, and ongoing lawsuits allegedly unequal pay and hostile work environments. The impact was internal culture shift and a diverse DEI focus.
Wow. Listen. Oh my God, that's see, and that's the okay. So our scenario isn't far fetched, right? Like we're like, okay, what if there was no HR? Crazy, you think everything falls apart. But look at this. With HR, it's just as bad for these companies. We focused on like, okay, there's the 1 week out. We talked about a month. Something here that we have on our notes here is the freedom illusion. After a month without HR, the operations team would love it because there's no red tape. There's no one to check and balance. There's no, I got to ask HR. They would be able to hire and fire whoever they want, right? I mean, it's there. But now what's going to happen is you're going to have employees with legal actions for discrimination. You're going to have, wrongful terminations, social media posts that are going to go toxic. I mean, they're already toxic now. You've seen it on and this is the thing, right? I know this squirrel moment for me too. Now, all of us are going to have one tonight, but think about that. Like even now in this world, the way you fire someone as an HR professional, the way you talk, it can get recorded. You're on Teams, Slack, Zoom, whatever. That's going to be recorded, screen captured. And it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing if you're not prepared, right? And it's usually they say it's an HR person I've never met before, or it's some people I've never even heard of this operations guy, and he gets on the thing and he's like, we're sorry, Becky, but we're going to have to let you go. Our fourth quarter sales numbers and like they have receipts at that point, and that's what I'm saying is like they're not prepared for that backlash. But again, this is just it's crazy to think with HR they're having problems. Without it, it's going to be complete chaos.
Absolutely. Yep. I do want to do a quick disclaimer because I mentioned some really large companies.
Yes.
Everything I read does not represent the company itself. Those were poor decisions made by poor individuals in certain seats that cost the company those faults and money. So that is in no way, in my opinion, a representation of those organizations. I don't want anyone saying I spoke bad about some of those companies. I want to work for them one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't sue us.
What about, and this is just popped in because I remember Jake was wanting to do this as a topic one time. What about those? So there's no HR. I can lie and say whatever the hell I want on my resume.
People already do that. ChatGPT.
Well, they do it now, but if you are any type of intelligent, you know that you will get caught. But if there's no HR to catch you,
right? Who's reference checking and who's
there you go.
Who's getting the information? The other HR team is gone. Remember, Thanos snapped them away.
What do you mean? Who's reference checking? They're talking to him during dinner because it's their cousin.
Well, that's true.
They're checking their own references with their in-laws.
You leave Hubba Bubba out of this.
It's Becky.
It's Becky.
Becky and Benny.
And the Jets.
Guys, the Jets suck. That's just, I'm sorry.
No, that was good. That was good. But what about office affairs?
Oh, Jesus. I mean,
Or nepotism.
Favoritism, office affairs. God,
Yeah.
the number of
Micromanaging
babies.
bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. With ADA accommodations, right? When people have dietary needs or they have bathroom issues or whatever, like if HR is not regulating that and telling the managers like, hey, you got to give this guy an extra break, like what are they doing? They're wearing Depends to work. I mean,
Or they're sitting next to Big Llama and having a conversation with him about ADA while in the stall next to him.
oh
While in the
Jesus,
restroom.
with man law violations.
Can you confidently say, right? Let's think of best case scenario.
Okay.
Can you confidently say that you have ever worked for a company that would be able to stand on its own without HR?
A company. That was your question.
Do you know a number of people? Because small companies, like, let's be realistic. You have a company of 10 people. You more than likely will not have an HR.
But they do outsource a lot of those to HR
PEOs.
organizations, so they still use them. I will tell you, the company itself, no. There will be locations that may be successful because they have people in operations that are intelligent and have enough knowledge to maintain chaos the way HR would. That does exist outside of HR, but the organization itself as a whole would not make it. The question isn't would they make it? The question would be is how long would they make it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, you can have the best of intentions and be a good person, and then you get a shitty employee who is trying to stir up trouble, right? That gets you into trouble. So, I don't think a lot of people, again, small business owners or companies that are growing, intend to have bad leadership. Sometimes you do have great leaders who just don't see the signs and have experienced this. Again, you have toxic employees out there that are just looking for issues. Like I can remember one scenario. This particular employee, I think, was working less than a week, and then like got injured, and then come to find out, like this is their fourth stop of getting injured at a job location, collecting checks from place to place. So it's like, without HR, without an experienced HR person, you might miss some of these things, right? And again, you can survive, but you're right. It's how long. I agree.
There's a quote that I use with operations because I've worked with leadership before, where they're like, "Well, we can do this without HR. We can take care of this without HR." And the one sentence I like to use with them is, well, if I don't have a choice and I can't force myself into that situation, is just know that just because it's ethical doesn't make it legal, and just because it's legal doesn't make it ethical. So you can be right and still be wrong and get sued, and you can be wrong and still be right and get sued.
No matter which way you go, you're getting sued, is what you're trying to say.
The question is because in our jobs, we all know every decision we make, it's not a matter of can we get sued or are we not going to get sued? While we do ask those questions because that's normal human being questions, we're in our head, it's a percentage. What percentage of liability would come back on us in this scenario? Is it 10%? Because you can sue anybody for anything. The question is are you going to win? And then you have to look at it as not just is it a violation of state law or federal law, then you have to look at it as a violation of company policies. I've seen organizations have to shell out millions of dollars following the law, but not their own handbook.
Yep.
And then you have to look at court cases that are in trial, that are recently settled. Because just because it's legal, if it goes to a trial by jury and you see that this situation is in favor of the complainant, in every single case the complainant's winning, even though we followed the law in our handbook, then you do have to make decisions sometimes based on jury decisions on whether or not you settle out of court or make certain decisions to prevent the amount of liability onto the organization. There's so many things that operations doesn't look past, because all operations really cares about is it in the handbook or is it a law? And again, while those are valid questions, we look at so much more than just that.
Well, I was going to ask, and maybe Dr. Green, you know what it's actually called, but if it's even called anything. But I kind of, because I've been in operations, right, in an operations role for quite some time, and then there's things I don't think about as an operations person. I'm thinking about bottom line, efficiency, productivity. Are we moving in the right direction to get the money? Please the client, whatever. So I don't think they're necessarily dumb or they don't know. I think they're just, their mindset is different. It's more like
they're numbers driven.
Right.
They're
I'm
tunnel visioned.
Okay. And then us as HR, we're looking at things to different perspective. Not that we don't understand the bottom line and how it impacts. I just think we're looking at again, holistically, how this will play out, and what are the different variables in the scenarios. So it's just a different mindset, a different way of thinking about where again, I am driven to say this equals this, and it gives me this result. We are looking at it as no. Let's look at all avenues here. How could this scenario play out? So it just. I think that's what it is. I think that's the difference between operations and HR. And that's why they call us the fun police.
See, but that's the problem.
We the fun police?
We are the fun police, because how many times have you wanted to crap on your boss's desk when you know you were about to get fired?
Yes.
Now, hold on. I'll tell you the reason why I say this, because I pulled up the story. And I think y'all would love this, because if HR did not exist, they fired an employee, snuck back into the building, used a borrowed badge, and defecated on their former manager's desk. The incident was caught on camera, and security, legal, and HR had to coordinate with police. And yes, there were photos. They're now used in security training.
And DNA evidence. I mean,
DNA evidence. But you see that on the movies all the time. Adam Sandler, granted, he was farting in his boss's face on Click, the movie Click, I think it was.
Yeah.
So he didn't really poop on the desk, but you get my point. It's the whole point of it is that if we are the fun police, but we are also, hey, let's be sanitary when we do things. Let's not do crazy, outlandish things like paint with feces on the wall or projectile feces it. I know somebody here has experienced that in a very fun way. So he's sat, people have sat next to him and pooped and talked to him. So he's a good guy though.
You got me looking at some interesting story now based on that.
And side note, Click is a soul-crushing movie.
It's so good.
Do not let the funny premise fool you. You will cry.
Yes. The near the endings was definitely a cry. It is definitely a tearjerker. And
I haven't seen the movie.
Okay, well, go watch it. It's Adam Sandler. So if you have not watched it, then y'all need to all go watch it, because anything with Adam Sandler is pretty much a funny comedy nugget of gold.
I found these results on search.
Okay, Alexa.
That was okay. Google, stop. I have two. I have the Alexa, and then also have the.
Can you? But can it hear us, or just your headphones?
No, it's just it can't hear us.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's all in here.
I was going to say, okay, Google, play The Boys Are Back from High School Musical. Go.
We're not all privileged with, hey, so and so, turn off Matthew's TV. We're not all privileged like that. Just saying.
Hey, don't get mad at me because you invested in a PhD and I invested in technology.
Oh.
And there it is, episode 14, and we've mentioned the PhD at least one time. 14 in a row.
I was telling my wife this story. I said, honey, they have made it a thing now to do this. And she goes, why? I said, because it's just really funny at this point. Because
Yeah.
I've had bosses who disregarded, who told me to take it off of my signature line.
I wouldn't do that. No.
You
No.
earned it.
7 years in a PhD program. I thought PhD would be great to have at the end of it. You know, beside the pure fact of $160,000 student loans.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Wow.
But
Look.
thank you for the United States military for taking care of me like you did.
Not even holy shit, it's holy shit, man.
I want to give you
some kind of accent came out of you.
there are some interesting stories where like I have to question if HR was involved in these decisions.
Oh my God, please read one.
Please.
So, okay, the designer who took the brand with him. What happened is a freelance graphic designer, upset after being dismissed, deleted all the versions of the company's new logo and branding. So the company had no backups and had to rebrand from scratch.
Yes.
So
Legal action was threatened, but they had no enforcement due to an absent IP agreement.
Oh my God.
Look, here's another one. And this one actually came back to bite the company they left for in the butt. An ex-Google engineer who took trade secrets to Uber. And then Uber had to pay $245 million in settlements for using the protected information that belonged to Google.
Let's get spicier though.
The employee who faked their own death.
There it is. Come on, speak it.
After being fired from a tech firm for fraud, the employee faked their own death to avoid a lawsuit. They were found alive months later, living under a new identity. The person was eventually sued and charged criminally.
Good.
That's a lot. That's a lot of commitment.
I mean, it says for
a lot
fraud.
of work.
He was being fired for fraud. So this tells me if he bought a new identity, it had to be fraud for millions.
Yeah.
Yes.
But reading these stories, I question, was HR involved in those decisions? Because if you came to me and you said, hey, we're going to fire a graphic designer that's working on all of our new logos, I'm going to go, whoa, pause.
Hold up.
What does he have access to? What do we have access to? Let's terminate all the access before we fire him. Let's make sure we have everything downloaded and it's all on our server. Like HR would ask these questions, and at least I know we would, making sure we're not going to get screwed over after we term them. And even if it's like a justified termination, meaning like it's contractual, it's irrelevant because we know what it means. Like even if the employee knows my contract ends on December 15th, come December 15th, even though they knew it, it's different when they hear it out loud. They take it differently. They get offended. They're upset. You didn't renew my contract. You didn't extend. You didn't offer me a permanent position. We know these things. Where was HR? And if HR was involved, I hope that they're no longer with those organizations.
I was going to say, they're not very good at what they do.
No, they're not. And some of those cases seem like you'd have like the vice president and CHRO involved in those cases.
Here's a case for Big Llama. I don't know why I thought about Big Llama when I read this, but it was really funny.
All right. Spit it out.
The Sugar Baby internship program.
Okay, I see why.
Is it in a candy company, I hope?
I wish. An executive was mentoring interns, but it turned out he was only hiring young women he met on sugar daddy websites, giving them fake roles and lavish gifts. HR was alerted when another manager noticed one intern had 0 tasks but a $4,000 purse.
Ooh.
I don't know why I thought about you, but
I don't know why you thought of me either, but
what is going on tonight? Llama body talk, sugar baby,
and sugar daddy. Sugar daddy.
You know what? I think because it seems like that would be something I would have been involved in. Like the case I probably would have handled. I think I'll take it like that. But good for that guy for trying to, bring up his roster of women to work. Like you're brave, dude. You are brave. You don't shit where you eat.
Roster
But
of
Jesus,
women?
yeah, his roster. I mean, he's cultivating a roster of ladies of
This
daddies.
is not. Well, I guess it would be. It could be a form of baseball because if you strike out so many times, your batting average goes down, and that makes sense.
Who's next in the lineup?
Who's
batting
next in the
first, second, third. That's it.
Well,
so where's HR in these hiring decisions?
zero.
Exactly.
We didn't get a resume.
But this one was also an executive though that did it, and so yes, where was HR then? But you see that it all happened, and so it shows the is HR really? And this is a serious moment. Does HR really have a seat at the table? Because if you did, you'd probably be able to see more. You'd probably be able to be involved in more because you have that buy-in. So you have that relationship. That's my serious moment.
Specifically, there are some companies though that separate HR from recruiting. Recruiting is its own entity. So if we were in a company where it's separated like that, then HR would have nothing to do with hiring.
Well,
we're the firing police.
But hold on, let's rewind a little bit. You're not wrong, but the level of protection is still there because talent acquisition should be following scriptured rules and regulations in their hiring process, and they fall under HR technically. So, in theory, a level of protection is still there. Could it be over-trumped? Well, no more than what HR can be over-trumped.
What about it? Go ahead, Ken.
I was gonna say, I think even if we weren't privy to the hiring decision, you would start to see a bit of a pattern, right? Like you would say, like I talked to Becky, and there's nothing between those ears, and she's our lead accountant. Like, I asked her to, if she can round up the money for the pizza. And she looked at me like I was funny. Like I think we would be able to say, look, you keep hiring the same type of people, or how did we get these 6 people? I don't know. Like I think something would be a red flag for us in our checks and balances.
We're starting to see a pattern, a physical pattern.
Yeah.
In the new hires.
All your new hires are blondes.
I'm starting to see all your new hires used to work for this company. And here's the name. What did they do? I Googled them, but this can't be right. This must be a new company.
Somebody safe search Body Talk for me, please. I can't search for it here.
I can't either.
I can.
Well,
go
Body Talk where?
Port St. Lucie.
While he's doing that, I do want to read. This one's a really spicy one, so please hold on to your. This one is called "Fired After HR Found Her in a Latex Suit in the Server Room."
Oh.
Security footage caught an employee dressed head to toe in latex, crawling through the server room on all fours with a leash and a partner in full gear. They claimed it was a private dare, but they used a company key card at 3 a.m. and HR was not amused.
Well, oh God.
So that would definitely happen if HR went away.
Yes.
Right? That's what I meant about some questionable things happening in closets.
Yeah, I mean, no one would be checking key card entries at 3 in the morning, right? Like
that's true. It's true.
It was what did they say? It was a personal dare?
It was a private dare.
Private dare.
That just sounds like you were having a conversation and you just dared someone to do something.
That just sounds like you're having conversations that you probably should not be having at work.
Yes.
But latex head to toe, that's still just that baffles me.
That's commitment though.
That is straight up commitment.
Put on like a latex glove when it's hot, like
yeah. I mean,
can you imagine?
Baby powder, please, inside the suit. But no, I think. But look, not shaming anybody's preferences.
Yeah.
But that's that goes a little extreme for the work locations. That's all.
For the work
Yeah.
locations.
I have
Okay.
researched your sports club. Your sports bar is what they're titled.
It's a sports bar. See, it's disguised as a sports bar.
I have read the reviews.
It's okay. Are there any you can read?
Well, do you want me to just summarize what all of them say together?
Yeah, pretty much.
There's not enough performers. It seems like they only have one every 1 to 2 hours.
We call them actresses. Okay,
Yes,
get it
ma'am.
right.
Apparently, there's a bad issue there where people's drinks get spiked.
Oh,
Dude, where do you live next to?
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
People,
he said
people talk
in the
about this place.
neighborhood.
You said neighborhoods. I'm kind of worried. Are you safe? Do we need to come get you?
And
I'm fine.
They have some very procurious individuals that work there from the door to the bar.
Oh,
A lot of questions about where they found this talent of employment.
Questionable talent pool.
Yep. And particularly one review was very upset that he was told he could bring his animal that was not a service animal. He just wanted to bring a dog with him and was there for 2 hours and got kicked out.
who's
know how
working
you-
HR there?
I think HR doesn't go on until 9.
That's her stage name. The stage HR Becky.
Becky.
Oh, poor Becky. Becky has been
Becky.
so many things.
It's always good. We're always dragging. Becky, we love you, girl.
We love you, Becky. All Beckys, we love you.
But you want to hear about the time that Becky got divorced?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. A VP had submitted a $60,000 in legal fees to HR, claiming it was a conflict mitigation expense.
They weren't lying.
They weren't lying. Turns out he was having an affair with his subordinate, and his wife, Becky, divorced him after finding emails on his work laptop and special pictures. The company refused to pay, so he sued, and then she sued.
I feel like it would be inappropriately classified as a work-related expense because I'm pretty sure most of the involvement was during work time. I mean, honestly, the girlfriend would actually have a legal claim in that.
Yeah.
I don't know about the husband, but the girlfriend would have a legal claim in that for some expenses.
But see,
Because-
hold on, she's not a girlfriend though. She's just the subordinate that had an affair.
If there was
Still.
legal expenses due to the senior manager's inappropriate conduct during work hours, there could be some legal claims there, more so on the civil side, but it would be there. The question is how much.
You're crushing my wonderful spicy time. I
Oh.
appreciate that. Thank
Sorry,
you.
I went into
But-
HR. I went into HR mode. Sorry.
Okay. Let's use our powers of HR then. Let's
Okay.
see how many things we can come up from this. The
Okay.
drug ring disguised as a wellness program.
Oh.
I think I've had that. I'm not joking. I worked for a company. I won't say which one, but we had an issue with the pharmacy, the pharmacist and the pharmacy.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about too.
Yeah. We had some narcotics come up missing. You know, the
That sounds
DEA
about
got
right.
involved, and
Oh God.
during one of my
DEA.
interviews, during one of my interviews, I wasn't even trying to find out if they had any kind of weapon during the interview, but that came out they had one in their belt.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the wellness program.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to come back to that story at some point.
Yeah. Employees were offered organic focus enhancers in wellness packages by a shady contractor. Turns out it was a microdosed psychedelics, and someone
Oh.
had been selling full doses under the table. HR found out an employee had a bad trip in a meeting, and he confessed it all.
I feel like that happened in California.
I feel like it happened in a meeting with that executive who was having an affair.
Listen.
But it's snowballed into a lot of different investigations.
So
mean,
you said the
they are happier.
psychedelic. Were the
Yes.
psychedelics natural, or chemical?
Well,
I
hold
thought
on.
it said natural.
Drugs, and it says, it says microdosed, which means small amounts of psychedelics. So let's use it for example. Okay, we do not judge or
You just mansplained to us.
He just PhD explained to
He
us.
just
There you go.
Chad explained to us microdose, which means small. Yeah, we know what micro means.
If you take the source code, micro meaning small, and the word dose, which is short for dosage, it means small dosage.
Mansplain.
Wait, I need him to mansplain macro dose.
So macro.
It's like the opposite of micro.
That's me on a book report. If I don't know, it'd be like, so like they went in and then they went out. So that's what happened in the book.
Yeah.
You know.
So
In 1995, he was born. He was born in 1995.
Look, you're
It
starting to
was the
sound like
90s.
you're starting to sound like someone in a particular administration. Okay, the grass is green
Hey.
because the green is grass because it grows in dirt, and dirt is something we all love.
and that's why the sky is blue.
All right, back on track.
Okay, so
Reel it back in.
psychedelics. So we, as we all say this, we all repeat this. We listen, but we don't judge.
Judge.
Oh,
right?
we judge.
Okay.
We judge.
Yeah, we totally judge. But we don't care if you do marijuana, if you do gummies, if you just decide to slap on some meth and heroin, whatever it is. It's not our business. But
I would care.
when you
I would care a little bit.
Hold on. We need to take a vote on this, on what we are or are not okay with.
hold on.
You do anything you want, just don't meth up. Okay? Just don't meth up.
We know some certain individuals who just enjoy their meth, okay?
Look, anything you want to do, I'm okay with. Just don't meth up.
Messing up is not.
This is
fun.
methed up. So bad. This is so methed up.
Reel it in.
But
Bring it back.
okay. So as HR, there's certain things that we can and cannot be involved in. Things that are in the privacy of their own home, blah, blah, blah. That's why I said that. But microdosed psychedelics, think of it just like you're eating a mushroom. And I mean a special mushroom, hence the word psychedelic. And it makes you trip out. So is it okay? Or is it acceptable because just like other certain drugs that are not as intense are acceptable? So are we like taking gummies here? Or are we really? Really?
Did we know that that's what we were taking, or are you giving it to me disguised as something else?
And I need to know what state we're in.
That's Grey's Anatomy when they ate the marijuana cookies.
Yeah.
They're all tripping out.
So, I mean, really, we honestly, the answer to that, like, how do we address that would depend on the policy, on how it's written, the verbiage, and the state that you're in.
Ooh, I like that you said that because that's extremely important. It's the state that you live in can define whether it is a felony, a misdemeanor, or let alone okay to do it.
Yeah.
So Becky, if you're in Texas, don't do it.
Don't meth up.
Becky.
We don't meth up in Texas.
They methed up by going to Texas.
I think one of the funniest things I love to hear from employees from previous companies when I worked over several states is when weed became legal and they're all like, "Oh, it's legal now. It's legal." I'm like, first of all, hold on, let's bring it down a notch.
Right.
Legal in specific states. It's not federally legal. Okay.
Yeah.
And the handbook still supersedes state law in most states. So
Exactly.
if it inhibits your job performance, you can't do it.
Yeah, can't have it.
And you can be fired.
And then they want to argue, but it's legal. I'm like, and I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
You have been promoted to a customer
But you don't want to be that guy getting caught tearing up some tile in the middle of the night, okay? In their own bathroom. So let's make sure we stay off drugs. But all in all, know what you put in your body. Also, to Big Llama's favorite point of, if you didn't make it and you didn't know where it came from,
don't eat
it.
Exactly.
Potlucks are bad.
So is meth.
And let's take it a step further for all the minors that might eavesdrop on this call.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
If you leave your drink unattended, don't drink it.
Especially at Body Talk.
Especially at Body Talk. Well, no, according to Body Talk, you shouldn't drink it even if the bartender made it.
Oh, shit.
The bartender's putting meth in your drink.
No, in the comments, that's who they were suspecting was spiking the drinks in several comments.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
I just need to know, truly, do you need help escaping from that compound that you're stuck in?
you know what? I honestly think this requires a journalistic expose visit with several of my colleagues in this call here to validate this, because we're HR professionals here. We have to validate our findings and substantiate the allegations.
I'm okay.
Do they sell food though? Did you see anything about
do
where
they
their
have
food
a
is sold?
buffet?
Do they have a buffet? That's right. Like Barney Stinson's up in there trying to get the spaghetti from the buffet.
It's a sports bar. I've never been there. I don't know anything about it. Now that I'm reading these comments.
As he says this very quickly. I've never been there. I know nothing about it. Not me.
Well, all right, let's
And looks at the door.
I swear I've never been there.
So and Mama Llama walks in and goes, "You were there last Friday."
Throws the shoe at him.
I would, yeah. That would be my last podcast, guys. That would be it. She watches investigative TV and forensic files.
Ready to go.
So let's bring it back. Let's bring it back in, and let's go around the horn. And we're going to close with these questions. So think about this before you answer. If you were to rebuild HR, so assuming that HR has been snapped away from existence, what would it really look like? You can answer that. Or what's the one HR task that we cling to that should probably just go away and die? So what are some of the things that we do that probably just need to go away? I got to bring this guy back in. Sorry, guys. And then what do we wish employees or leaders better understood about our HR roles? So around the horn, any of those questions?
What do we wish employees or leaders better understood about the HR role? Yep. Is you may call us the fun police, and you may call us the principal, the buzzkill, and that's okay. We will happily own that, because guess what? We're going to keep you safe, and our best interest is the company, also our employees, right? And that's a separate note on itself. Is we're not the enemy. We're not your friend. We're your coworker. But we have good interest at heart. What would it really look like if I could rebuild HR from scratch? I'd look for people with a genuine passion to finding the root cause of problems and solving them, but people who truly understand and exhibit like service industry, like it sounds real cliche to say service from the heart, but you have to care about what you're doing in order to work in HR. So there, I'll answer two of those.
Awesome. All right. So with Dr. Green, what do you got?
So I actually wrote this down. It was very interesting that when I was thinking about this, because, we talked about previous episodes, we talked about psychological safety and how HR is the psychologist. And it took me a minute, but it brought me back to my actual doctorate. where we need to integrate industrial organizational psychologists into HR so that we can have the strategy of therapist strategist hybrid, not a real therapist, not one that can prescribe drugs or anything like that, and none that break the law. But we can truly figure out things like how can we treat burnout, conflict management, just human health issues, mental awareness, behavioral diagnostics, all these things, not just a stupid survey. When we do these things, we're talking about these psychological diagnostics and how we can fix these things. We can deal with the true roots of the causes, which is fear, disengagement, passive aggression, and then also the one that I know Jake from HR loves the most, silence. So I'd say get off the horse and learn little by little that you can when it comes to behaviors about your employees. What are you seeing? Truly get to know those behaviors, because that can help you shape a better organization if you can get those things mapped out. So my advice, to have a better strategy.
Are you pushing to get hired somewhere?
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
No, the only place I want to work is here.
Great. Good thing this is internship. So I'll go next, and then we'll close it out, because Jake always closes out the show. Two things I would do, right? What is one task that we would cling to that should probably die? Icebreakers and those stupid games, specifically 3 truths and a lie. If that went away for the rest of my life, I would be the happiest man on earth. And I hate, making adults and grown people play silly scavenger hunt games to start a meeting, or yes, I am the fun police, and I'll admit it. I'm old, born in the 1970s, and stop playing these stupid games. I got time for this shit. I'm here to learn something. Get on with it, and let's move. But other than that, if we were
the one thing, Cheerios.
Exactly.
I need a beer. You're number one, Kenny. You're number one.
I'm number one.
Make sure you know it.
But in all seriousness, I think I just want both employees and leaders to just understand the difficulty of this role and why we do what we do. Like I don't think it's appreciated. And I know we kind of talked about, like, what if we all went away, right? If we weren't there. But I've said this to some HR folks that I've worked with, is like, the best HR teams, you don't even know that they exist. You don't even know that they're there. It's a selfless, thankless job that, if you're doing it right, you're not visible. You're not, like, first of all, you're protecting the company, you're saving them from themselves. And again, you're taking care of things. So if things aren't breaking, people are getting paid, benefits are right, complaints are being addressed. Like, if you're doing all those things appropriately, there's your value. So I wish people would know those things that we do behind the scenes, because we're only kind of seen for the ugly parts, right? On social media, we're the, hey, we're bringing in HR to fire you. In investigations, leaders feel like we're out to get them. When something goes wrong, it's HR's fault. It's a policy, it's a process. But there's so much more to that. So I think this exercise in tonight's topic, I think was great, because I hope people got an understanding or a realization of how vital this particular role is. And if you're looking to get into the role, it's not always what it seems to be, and it's not all roses, but it is rewarding if you do it right and you have folks that are sort of will work with you and work along with you. So that's my parting shot. So Jake from HR, what are your parting shots?
Before you go to Jake from HR, I want to make a point here.
Okay. Now here we go.
You keep doing
the truth and a lie.
That you keep doing the truth and a lie. Because you know what? That's what's going to get you to know that person next to you, and whether they lied that their sister was 70 years old and they're 20. whatever it is. But I disagree. I will say I completely disagree.
In some
I agree
cases,
with you, Dr. Green.
in some cases, I don't need to know them. I just need to know that they can do their job.
Exactly.
You know what?
I'm calling you a liar on every one of those truths.
Okay.
You didn't scale Mount Everest. You saw it on the picture, jackass.
No,
you did it
that was-
virtually.
No.
That was the yodeler on Price is Right.
Drew it to scale. They drew it to scale. What was the first question? I missed it.
It's okay. So there's the 3 questions. If we rebuilt HR from scratch, what would it really look like? If what's the HR task that we cling to that should probably die? And then what do we wish employees or leaders better understood from our roles as HRs?
So the first 2 questions I'll combine, but they would be answered differently. So basically, what do we need to cling on to for HR? I would say HR needs to be the final decision. A lot of companies value HR's words and wisdom as optional. And there are a very few, but there are companies where HR is law. HR is the final decision. And I think we need to bring that back. I think it would protect a lot of companies and help a lot of growth and morale issues. What I would get rid of is the stigmatisms that were everything HR looks like from the outside, because it all boils down to HR at the end of the day is a strategic partner in everything operations related, on the front side, the back side, left, right side, diagonally. HR has their hands in everything, even if it's just a little. So I'd definitely get rid of that stigmatism that we're the fun police. We make all the rules when we don't. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. Which brings us to the close of tonight's episode. So, as I say, with much love, until we call you into the office next week.
Adios.
Hate.
Don't
No
forget,
place.
ask your mom.
That's right.
No. We
And-
don't want to say hi to your moms and your dads anymore. We were just joking.
Right.
Don't say hi to your mom. Say hi to your HR partner.
Right.
Yes,
Exactly.
bring us a donut.
And just say no to 2 things. Just say no to 2 things: meth and 3 truths and a lie. All right, guys. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Well, that's another episode of the 4 Friends Trying to Figure Out HR. We didn't solve anything, but hey, at least we tried.
And by tried, we mean we laughed, we overshared, and we probably violated some HR guidelines ourselves.
But remember, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Don't take our advice. Seriously, don't.
And if your HR manager asks, you've never heard of us or this podcast.
Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and join us the next time as we keep trying to figure out HR and fail spectacularly.
Now, go be productive, or at least pretend to be.
And tell your boss that I said hi.
Tell your mom I said hello.
Tell your daddy I said hey.
And remember, hate has no home here.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week again for a fresh round.